SpongeBob SquarePants is a series I love and grew up with that kept me company a lot during my younger years. During its long airing history, they've always included holiday-themed episodes for Halloween, Valentine's Day, and of course Christmas. While rewatching season of the show on Paramount Plus, trying to feel some childhood nostalgia, I stumbled upon This Is SpongeBob Christmas that reawakened old memories of me watching this as a kid. I remember the previews and build-up during the year of 2012 displaying a new SpongeBob Christmas special, with the last one being in the year 2000, that I hold dear and special to my heart watching it growing up during Christmas time. But something that made this special so unique was the animation. The episode was created entirely using stop-motion animation by Screen Novelties, who drew inspiration from the old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Santa Claus is Coming to Town television specials, which is so cool to see revisited in the modern era where this style is completely non-existent in major TV production. And to see Nickelodeon use one of their most beloved characters to try something new with the series, that made me very excited to see this new episode when it came out. An interesting fact about this episode is that it was released on CBS a week prior to it airing on Nickelodeon on December 6th. It was the first time an episode of SpongeBob didn't air on Nick or Nicktoons, to follow the tradition of old holiday classics that air on CBS every December. So I want to break down the episode and what I enjoyed about it. I love that we start off with serious staple Patchy the Pirate, which tells you this episode you're in for a treat. Of course he's up to his shenanigans, this time hijacking a mail truck and kidnapping the mailman, so he can deliver his letter to Santa at the North Pole. He and Pie the Parrot don't know where it is, which causes an argument that distracts them from the fork on the road, that causes them to spin off of it. Patrick tells us to follow SpongeBob instead for the holiday, which starts a Christmas version of the SpongeBob theme song, similar to the one from the 2000 special. We finally get to see SpongeBob, who starts singing about Christmas while getting ready for the holiday and decorating his house. Something that SpongeBob has always delivered on is the songs, and this one is no different, having that Christmas jolly to it. We get to see his friend Squidward, who of course puts up lights to make Santa go away. Patrick, who wants to catch a Santa to keep Christmas going year long, but in Patrick's fashion gets caught in his own trap, with Sandy in the holiday spirit for a science experiment, and SpongeBob lastly visits Mr. Krabs, who talks about the season of getting instead of giving. I mean, what can you expect from Mr. Krabs? I have to say this, the Krusty Krab looks amazing in stop motion, especially with all the added details in the background. We finally get to see Plankton, who of course complains about getting coal for Christmas for his bad actions, but he has a solution to this year. Using the element Jerktonium, it's SpongeBob people, what do you expect? His plan is to bake in a Christmas fruitcakes to pass around Bikini Bottom to turn everyone into a jerk. With everyone a jerk except for him, he thinks Santa has no other choice but to put him on the nice list, to get the secret formula as his present to no one's surprise. He drives the jerk into 3000 to distribute the fruitcake, and of course SpongeBob is the first one to try it. That leaves SpongeBob unfazed due to his good nature, making SpongeBob's taste buds asking for more. That makes Plankton very frustrated and leads to him handing over the keys to the machine to SpongeBob. With SpongeBob now controlling the jerk into 3000, he wants to let everyone Bikini Bottom try this fruitcake to spread Christmas joy, unaware of its effects. He first gives it to nearby carolers, which turns them into ugly jerks that begin to fight over what Christmas song to sing. At least Plankton impressed watching from afar, and of course SpongeBob spots a Christmas parade in downtown Bikini Bottom and starts to distribute the fruitcake to everyone there, which causes the whole destruction of the parade. That's so creatively animated, with SpongeBob being completely oblivious. That contributes to Plankton's master plan, with the last thing to do is to destroy SpongeBob's good name, with the construction of a robot SpongeBob that terrorizes Bikini Bottom to make Plankton look good. I do really like the cut back to Patchy and Potty, who have crashed in a pile of snow. Leaving them stranded out in the cold with no food and water causes them both to hallucinate about eating each other, which leads to some more funny shenanigans. SpongeBob begins to realize the negative effects Plankton has played on the town through his actions. Seeing the state of the residents of Bikini Bottom, he hatches a plan with Sandy to help stop them from being all jerks. He and Sandy figure out the fruitcakes have Jerktonium in it, explaining the attitudes of the people, which causes this funny exchange between Sandy and SpongeBob on why he would accept food from Plankton. They research that the antidote to the fruitcake is a song that helps cure Sandy first. SpongeBob, with this knowledge, starts to sing out to the people in Bikini Bottom, curing everyone in town. The song is pretty good and delivers a good message about being joyful and thankful for the holidays. Santa finally arrives, landing by the Krusty Krab by the rest of the Bikini Bottom residents. He tells them that they're all on the naughty list except for Plankton, who is nearly gifted the Krabby Patty formula, but Robo SpongeBob comes out of nowhere, rampaging the area and kidnapping Santa. SpongeBob is able to destroy it using the Jerkinator. I never imagined a SpongeBob Christmas special he'd be fighting a giant robot of himself, but that's just SpongeBob for you. He saves Santa, who figures out Plankton is the cause of this mayhem, and gives him a pile of coal instead, restoring Christmas in Bikini Bottom to normal. We see Patrick sneak a ride on Santa's sleigh and finally get to capture him hilariously. And we get back to Patrick, who finally gets to meet Santa, who asks for one wish to meet his hero Spongebob. But instead greeted by a hungry polar bear, with Santa remarking in the background of Potty that he is on a night list for his various crimes. And we finally end the episode with a Merry Christmas, closing it out. They did a great job of character designing and set design that brings the world of SpongeBob into stop motion, excellently capturing the feel of old Christmas classics, especially with the musical element being a major presence. The story is pretty normal for SpongeBob that does a good way of hammering in the meaning of Christmas. Transitioning into the spooky season, 5 years later we saw a Halloween special in the same vein as the Christmas one, using stop motion by Screen Novelties. This episode is called The Legend of Boo-Kini Bottom. I remember seeing previews for it but never watching it until now out of curiosity. One thing that caught my eye was the use of the stop motion anime intro from previous SpongeBob specials, which was a surprise to see. So Bikini Bottom is transformed into a Halloween town of sorts, with everyone out trick-or-treating for the holiday. We get to SpongeBob having a hard time creating scary Halloween decorations to place on his house due to his good nature, that is judged by Patrick for being too cute and for not having a scary costume. To try to ease SpongeBob into the Halloween spirit, Patrick teaches SpongeBob that scary equals funny to conquer his fright. He brings him around the town, first stopping at Sandy's house to get some practice. We see Sandy building a Frankenstein monster called the Acorn Monster that scares SpongeBob and Patrick to the point of laughter. Afterwards, they travel to the Krusty Krab, where Mr. Krabs and Squidward have set up a haunted house that looks like the Chum Bucket, that hilariously shows all the horrors Plankton does to his food, which is so nicely presented. And on the opposite side of the road, we see Plankton, who has set up his own haunted house depicted as the Krusty Krab. Plankton trying to scare SpongeBob and Patrick by saying Krabby Patties are made out of Bikini Bottom residents. That doesn't faze SpongeBob at all. We get to see the Flying Dutchman overlooking Bikini Bottom's Halloween. To his discomfort, he isn't liking that the residents in Bikini Bottom aren't screaming in fear, particularly SpongeBob. It's nice they include an old character like the Flying Dutchman to be one of the main antagonists of the plot. The Dutchman confronts SpongeBob and tries to scare him. SpongeBob tells him scary equals funny, which makes the Dutchman infuriated. So he takes SpongeBob and Patrick on his ship to have a frightening Halloween night. The animators did a great job creating a Halloween ride on tracks through the Flying Dutchman's ship, which is so creative. As the Dutchman tries to scare the two with ghosts and dangerous throws similar to a roller coaster ride, he makes Patrick scared out of his mind while SpongeBob is full of laughter. The Dutchman grows angrier about his failed attempts to scare SpongeBob, so he steals the souls of his friends, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, Squidward, Gary, and for some reason Plankton. As they continue on the ride, SpongeBob and Patrick see the souls of their friends, and drop into cages pleading for help, quite spooky. But he doesn't take it seriously until he realizes Patrick's soul has left his body, which finally makes him scream in fright, running straight out of the ship with his flesh leaving his skeleton. Now that the Dutchman has finally scared SpongeBob, he keeps his friends captured, planning to scare them and planning to roast their souls. Plankton tries to make a deal with the Dutchman, but is instead turned to a mindless servant. SpongeBob comes back to the ship to save his friends, using Sandy's creation to try to scare the Dutchman away. That ends in failure. The Dutchman mocks him for his attempt, so Plankton tries to warn him about SpongeBob's scary brain, but him not taking it seriously and rushing inside of his head. A dream sequence of happy and pure creatures sprinkled in his head, making the Dutchman very uncomfortable. That leaves the Dutchman scared out of his mind, leaving the ship and returning the souls of SpongeBob's pals to their own respective bodies, with all of his friends rejoicing for his act of bravery. Seeing it for the first time, I really enjoyed it and had a fun time watching the episode, especially with the continuation of the stop motion animation and using a holiday like Halloween to have all these spooky sets. Even though there wasn't any clear message or lesson in the plot, including the Flying Dutchman made up for it. This makes me want to see more stop motion SpongeBob episodes, like for instance having a Thanksgiving or a Valentine's Day special in the future to continue the tradition. It was really fun putting together this video, and I highly appreciate if you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos from me.